When people first heard Daniel talk about his dream, they laughed. Some shook their heads, others rolled their eyes. Because honestly, who in their right mind believes a mechanic's son from a small town can ever become a world-class architect? But Daniel did. He saw it. He saw buildings rising from the ground like art pieces, people walking through spaces he created. He used to sketch under the mango tree behind their house every evening after fixing cars with his father. "Boy, stop wasting your time with those drawings," his father would grumble, his rough hands covered in grease. "These engines feed us, not those papers." But Daniel would smile quietly. "Dad," he'd say, "one day, these drawings will feed us too." Of course, no one believed him. At the local hangout spot, when Daniel talked about applying to the University of Lagos to study architecture, his friends laughed so hard one of them nearly choked on his malt drink. "Guy, you? Architecture? With which money?" Another added, "You better stick to fixing cars, dreams don't pay rent, my guy." He laughed with them, but that night, he cried silently in his room. Still, he applied. And somehow, against all odds, he got in. But the real challenge was paying for it. His father refused to help at first. "You're wasting your time," he said. "You'll come back crawling when life humbles you." So Daniel worked, morning to night, fixing generators, washing cars, saving every naira he could. Sometimes he'd skip meals to buy drawing tools. He'd walk to school because he couldn't afford transport. Sometimes rain soaked his sketches, but he'd dry them under the hostel fan and start again. It wasn't easy. There were days he wanted to give up, like the time he fainted from hunger during a design review. But then she came into his life. Her name was Bella. Soft-spoken, graceful, with eyes that looked like peace. They met in the design studio. She was the rich girl everyone admired, but few could approach. But she noticed him. The quiet boy always sketching in the corner, wearing the same faded shirt every week. One evening after class, she walked up to him. "You draw beautifully," she said, smiling. Daniel blinked, unsure if she was talking to him. Thank you," he muttered. She studied his sketches. "Your lines, they tell stories." That was how it started. Conversations about dreams, about life, about believing when no one else did. Bella began helping him, buying him drafting tools by accident, bringing him food because she made too much. Soon they became inseparable. For the first time, Daniel felt seen. But the closer they grew, the louder the whispers became. "Of course he's dating her," people said. "He's broke. He's using her." Even her friends mocked her. "Bella, are you seriously dating that struggling boy? You could have anyone." The pressure grew. Her father, a wealthy business tycoon, found out and called Daniel to his office. "Stay away from my daughter," he warned coldly. "You're not her level. Don't ruin her future chasing your fantasies." Daniel stood there, fists clenched, heart breaking. "I love her, sir," he said quietly. Her father chuckled darkly. "Love doesn't pay bills. Leave her, or I'll make sure you never graduate." Daniel walked out, trembling, humiliated. That night he cried again. For the first time, he thought maybe everyone was right. Maybe dreams weren't meant for people like him. He stopped going to class, stopped sketching, stopped believing. Days passed. Then one night, Bella showed up at his tiny hostel room drenched from rain. "Why did you stop fighting?" she demanded, tears in her eyes. "Because I'm tired," he whispered. "I'm tired of being laughed at, tired of struggling, tired of believing in something that keeps breaking me." She knelt before him. "Then let me believe for you," she said softly. Those words hit him like lightning. "Let me believe for you." That night, he picked up his pencil again. Years passed. Daniel graduated, top of his class. He won a national design competition for low-cost housing projects, catching the attention of an international firm. He was offered a scholarship to study abroad. When he returned 5 years later, he was no longer the mechanic's son. He was Daniel Benjamin, lead architect of DB Designs, building sustainable homes across Africa. He stood at a grand event. His latest building, a community art center, was being commissioned. Cameras flashed, journalists asked questions, and then he saw her, Bella, standing at the back, smiling through tears. He walked to her, ignoring the cameras, the whispers, the world. "You still believe in me?" he asked. She smiled. "Always." He took her hand in front of everyone and said, "You were my first foundation. Everything I built started with you." Years later, Daniel built a new house, not a mansion, but a simple, beautiful home for his father. The same man who once told him dreams don't feed anyone now sat on the porch, watching his son's buildings rise on TV. "DQD," Daniel said one evening, handing him the keys. "I told you these drawings would feed us." His father chuckled, eyes glistening. "Yes, my son," he whispered. They did. Everyone laughed at Daniel when he dreamed. They mocked him, doubted him, and even tried to stop him. But he kept going. Not because he never wanted to quit, but because someone reminded him why he started. Sometimes love isn't just romance, it's fuel. It's the quiet voice that whispers, "Don't give up." So if they're laughing at your dream today, let them. Because one day they'll applaud the same dream they once mocked.